Welcome to MarcusG.tv.
This is Jamie.
That was a weak intro, wasn't it?
It was.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was sidetracked. So, today's mission, we're going to talk about...
You didn't say Chef Marcus.
I didn't say anything.
Let's go back.
Let's go back. Why don't you start?
Welcome to MarcusG.tv. This is Jamie.
And Marcus.
And Marcus is a chef on a mission.
I'm a chef on a mission. And today's mission is...
The customer.
The customer.
The customer. And the guests. Are they always right?
Are they always right? This is, this is the part that most restaurateurs, most chefs really need to improve upon.
Absolutely.
They really need to improve upon it. Now, we had a situation the other night here where a guest of ours, why don't you tell the story? Because I walked in later.
Sure, absolutely. So the other night, a guest of ours, they've been here a few times, ordered fish.
Many times over the last 10 years.
Ordered fish, or many times they've been here, and they said, that they were disappointed one time with a fish dish that they had gotten, and so they were a little hesitant about buying fish here. And so, they ordered a salmon, and they sent the salmon back. And I went into the kitchen, and I looked at the salmon, and I tasted the salmon, and it was medium rare in the middle, exactly how we serve it at the restaurant.
They said the fish was dry.
They said the fish was very dry. I didn't get that from the fish, but I have our salmon all the time, so I wasn't quite sure what what they were talking about or whatever. So I talked to them for a while.
As a result, he didn't like his dish.
As a result, he decided he didn't want his dish.
He doesn't want his dish,
right.
So he sent his dish back.
So he sent his dish back as well, and he said it was very good. And I said, well, then why did you send it back? I was very confused. They said, well, we just didn't want to cause problems. We didn't want to, make a big deal. We weren't going to say anything, but we want you to know that the last time we were here, we had a problem with your fish as well.
And they were saying they might not come back.
And they might not come back. Okay. So I, immediately approached them in a very positive manner. And I said, well, if you don't like something, then, I understand. And they said, well, we want you to go back there and taste it. And we want you to see if this is the way that it's supposed to be served.
Because we explained to them that we serve a wild coho salmon, which is a much leaner fish than farm salmon, and it's a much leaner fish than wild king salmon.
But she insisted that they were getting wild salmon all the time from Whole Foods. So, we started continuing the conversation with them and explaining the fish to them and telling them about the fish and where we get it from.
So this is where I came in.
Yes.
I came in just before this, and then I said to them, next time you're in, I want to cook your fish.
Right.
And they said, oh, okay, that's great. Well, if you want to cook our fish now, we'll have another piece.
Right.
So I went back to the kitchen and I cooked both their pieces of fish the way that I would cook it for myself and for our guests.
Right.
And delivered it to them, and sure enough, they did not like it. So, when a customer complains to you, you have to welcome their complaint.
And I kept saying to them, because they kept saying, we're so sorry, we don't want to cause any problems, we don't want to, I said, your feedback is important to me, because if you're saying it, then other people are feeling it or thinking maybe the same thing. So this is the important part of us being able to educate our guests on what kinds of fish we are serving.
So now here's the thing. The salmon that they're used to eating and the salmon that we're serving, they're not going to be happy with our salmon no matter what way it was cooked.
Right.
That's the bottom line. They're not going to be. So is this guest wrong? Is this guest wrong for sending back three orders of salmon at this point? 3 orders of salmon got sent back.
They did not eat it.
They didn't eat it. They sent it back. So at this point, is the guest really wrong, or are we wrong? It's a matter of we're just all different.
And she kept saying it's probably us. As she was eating the second piece of salmon, she goes, it's probably us. It's probably the way that we like the fish. So it's probably us. And I explained to her, well, you're just used to it a certain way.
We're just different.
We're just different.
The way what you're doing is different than what we're doing is different. And it doesn't make either one of us wrong. It doesn't make either one of us right. But as owners of the restaurant, we want to make sure that you're happy.
And that's what I said to her. I said, it is our intention to make you happy.
Right.
We want you to leave here happy. We don't want you to leave here and say, oh, I'm never going to go back to that restaurant, or I'm never going to order fish again at that restaurant because they don't know how to cook their fish. That was her whole philosophy.
That's whole philosophy. We don't know how to
cook the fish. And so in the long run, she's just not used to the fish that we're using and that we're cooking.
So here's the one thing, if you're a restaurateur, you have to be extremely thankful that a guest is actually saying something to you while they're there.
Right.
Because this person could have gone on Yelp We could have gotten a 1-star review, and this person is on Yelp, by the way. They've never Yelped us, but they could have gone onto Yelp. She could have gone on Yelp and said, "This, I've been there 3-4 times. Every time I go, the fish is terrible.
Right.
This, that." And there's a lot of our food that they do like.
They loved all the appetizers, and they loved everything else.
Right, but that's what resonates with them. So they would have gone onto line and just said all the negative things about us and bashed us and given us a 1-star review, and then we would have never had that chance to
fix it and correct it and explain to them why they're not enjoying
So
the fish.
when a guest complains to you, welcome that complaint. And I know this is the hard part because a lot of customers are lunatics. Not saying that this customer was, but I'm just saying, in a regular situation, a lot of guests, food is very opinionated. People are crazy to begin with. When people are hungry, their blood sugars are off. So there's a lot of things that a guest might say that are totally wrong. That you as a chef, you as an owner, are going to get uptight and say, "Well, this person's totally wrong." The bottom line is the guest wants to be heard. You want to listen. The guest wants to be listened to. That's it. Just listen to your guest. Shut up and listen. When you're an apprentice, when you're a chef apprentice, you go to a kitchen, you shut up and you learn. Just shut up and learn something, what the guest is saying. At that point, it's like wine. You open a bottle of wine that you're anticipating, and your first smell, your first sip, wine hasn't opened up yet. You take your first sip, you never say something on your first sip of wine. You process it, you go back, you think about it, you let the wine open up and you go back. Same thing with a guest comment like that.
And
you think about it.
I even said to her, I said, you already had a negative connotation about our fish here. And then you reordered fish again, right? So that didn't really make much sense to me as a restaurant owner, but she did. And so now it was my turn to fix it and make it correct.
Right.
Change her idea about it. And then she ended up getting the tuna,
and loved
which is also fish, and she
loved it. And she was, "Why did I order this to begin with?"
Exactly.
So now here's the second part to this equation. When you pay attention to a guest and you listen to the guest, no matter if they're right or wrong, when you listen to the guest, now you have an opportunity to create a raving fan. Some of our best customers here have come from wanting to never come back here.
Right.
Saying, "Well, this place isn't for me. I don't understand why they don't have Coca-Cola or Jack Daniels. This place," once you explain yourself and once you listen to the guest, it totally can spin that all the way around.
Absolutely.
So whether they tell you in person or they write it on Yelp, you still have to respond. Now, Yelp reviews are tough because they're not only talking to you, but they're talking to all of your online community who's going to go on and Yelp you. My general rule has been the whole time, let things sit for 24 hours. Once I can process it, let yourself process it, because let's face it, our restaurants are baby. You wouldn't go to a parent and say, "Oh, your baby's ugly," right?
Right.
And so that's what's happening when people say, "Oh, your restaurant's this."
We're taking it personally because we are putting our heart and soul into what we do.
When I worked at the Greenbrier had such a great training program where they taught us, put yourself in the guest's shoes. Put yourself in the guest's shoes, and if a guest, 99% is never enough, because that 1% that's not happy is actually 100% of their experience. So 1% is really 100%, because that one person, their whole experience is screwed up. And when you put yourself into that mindset, our big thing at our restaurant is we want you to walk out happy. We understand the food might be for you. You might not want organic food. You might not want to drink, an independent brand. You might want your Jack Daniels. You might want your Grey Goose. You might, want farm salmon versus wild salmon. We understand that. But let's at least come to an agreement and listen to you and maybe realize, well, maybe this restaurant's not for you. Right. Maybe you're not a good guest for us, which is totally fine because there's lots of other restaurants and that just makes us all different. Which is totally fine. I think the biggest takeaway from this video that we're trying to make is listen to your guests.
Listen to them.
Whether they're right or wrong,
them.
Whether they're a lunatic. I mean, there's been a couple times where I've called the police on guests because they're just lunatics, outright lunatics, and they've made certain threats or they've been obnoxious in the restaurant. But over the 13
years, we haven't had to do that very much.
That's been twice.
Right.
That's been twice. If somebody's causing a scene in your restaurant, obnoxious and and stuff like that, and yelling out and this and that, that's something you shouldn't have to put up with. But if you can at least have some kind of rational conversation, have it with them. Listen to them. That's it. So, and by the way, this couple was so thankful, and we comped everything on their bill except for the wine they had.
Right.
We comped everything, even the tuna that she had, that she loved, that she ate it all. We comped it all because it's not worth it. Yeah. If you understand your acquisition costs to get a new guest and to keep a guest happy, for what we comped is nothing.
Very interesting story. We had a lady come in here last week, right? And coming to talk about another experience that she had
Yes,
in another
restaurant.
And she came in here to voice her opinion to us. And she was very, very upset about what had just happened. And the restaurant wanted to charge her for the tea.
The iced tea.
The iced tea.
It took them, this is her claims. This is her claims, that they ordered food. 45 minutes later, somebody came out to the table and said, we don't have buns.
One of the ingredients.
We don't have one of the ingredients for your dish. We can't do this. We can't do that. And they had ordered iced teas or something, some non-alcoholic beverages. And they were going to give them a bill for the tea. For the tea. And she goes, I'm not paying for that. And one of the staff members there said, well, then we're not going to make any money. And she was totally, I mean, first the guest is taken back to begin with. Right. At 45 minutes later, even if it was even if she was exaggerating, let's say it was 20 minutes later. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt, or them the benefit of the doubt, and say she totally lied by 100%. Let's say it was 20 minutes. 20 minutes to come back after you're hungry for lunch, to come back to the table and say, we don't have the ingredients to make your food and we can't do that. And
listen, it happens.
It does.
It does happen. But
you don't charge.
There was nobody in the restaurant, and you don't charge them for it.
You give them a gift certificate to come back and say...
She'll never go back, and she's going to badmouth. She came to us.
Right.
Another restaurant owner to tell us.
And then my parents got the story from somebody else already, what happened at this place. Yeah. Like, you know, like, can you believe what happened there? And it's just like... Over iced tea.
So $2.50 or $3.
You give them a $15 gift card to come back.
We're so
you apologize.
Sorry.
Give us another chance.
Food. Yep. And they've lost the customer. They've lost the guest. So listen to your guests. And she did. She went to go talk to a staff member, and they didn't want to hear it from her. And you know what? It turned her off. All she wanted to do was be heard. And even when she left our restaurant,
she wanted to be heard.
She just wanted to be heard.
Yeah, she wanted to tell somebody.
And I listened to her, and she was like, well, you know, now I know where we have to come only. So just you just got to knock off. Listen to your guests. Listen to the comments. Just brush it away, and don't
worry about the small stuff. Don't worry about giving them a bill for something. They're already pissed off. If you give them a bill for something, they're going to be more pissed off.
It's not worth it.
So, you know, even though we did bill them for the wine, she had very nice wine.
She told us to bill her for the wine.
They wanted to be billed for everything, by the way. They said, no, we're going to pay for everything. And we said, no way are you going to pay for everything, you know? So that's our moral to the story. So listen to the guest. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Get over to 50mistakes.com, which is our cyber coaching website. Lots and lots of awesome free advice over there on 50mistakes.com, FIFTY mistakes.com, or 50mistakes.com. Leave comments, send us an email. Thanks for watching.